he was the assistant coach under Steve Kerr at Golden State. So now you're getting paid for being an assistant coach at Golden State while you still getting a check from Cleveland and the Lakers. So I'm like, Mike, like, niggas won't get, all right, fuck it.
Fire me.
Yeah. Niggas acting crazy. As long as niggas pay me. So I think you made a great, I only have too much to say about what you just said because you made.
Moving along, back on December 27th, the Sacramento Kings parted ways with head coach Mike Brown and they hired Doug Christie. As of December 30th, the Kings were on a 7-game winning streak until losing to the Bucks last night. So basically the tea with this situation is that the GM never spoke about the firing of the head coach until recently. Got a little bit of a long quote, but I'm going to read it so you guys know what he said. He said, "I would say first how much we appreciate Mike and everything that he did for this organization and for breaking the playoff drought. I have the utmost respect for him, and obviously it was a tough decision when that time came. But at the same time, now Doug is the interim head coach, and it's our job to continue to support him and get him the support he needs for those players. And for him, he brings what he brings to the table, and he's got to be himself. And right now, I think the guys are really responding to that." So Mace, gonna ask you first, do you feel like Mike Brown's firing was valid? And then how do you feel about the GM taking so long to basically respond to the firing of him?
As the GM, let's start with the GM because all change comes from the top, Paul. So when you're thinking of a GM and he decides that he wants to address this year in the middle of the playoffs, it's his role to actually address it whenever he desires to address it. Sometimes it's not the opportune time to address things, and that's just a style of his leadership. And when I think of when he's talking about Doug Christie, right? Doug Christie is a former player of the Sacramento Kings, so he comes with a lot of fanfare and people loving him because he was one of the fan favorites of the team. And when you think of him coaching that team, I can see how he would rally that team. He's more like a player's coach, or however you say that. And definitely he's going to get a better outcome than Mike Brown with that team. I think Mike Brown was one of those old school kind of coaches that demanded certain things, but he lost the communication between him and his superstar. A lot of times then when you see a coach exiting, that's why he's exiting, because he lost the ear of the superstar. It's going to be hard to coach a team if you lose the ear of the superstar. Sometimes you got great chemistry and camaraderie and communication with everybody else, but people begin to follow the superstar. And when you got that locker room divided, it's going to be hard to win because people just won't play for you. You know, when it's time to win games, it's easy to win when the players want to play for that coach. And you could see that they lost that 2 seasons ago. It seemed like the Kings were going to be the team that start rising out of the West. It looked like they were right there with Golden State. They needed one more piece to beat Golden State, and now it doesn't seem like they're nowhere near being that dominant team in the West. So he had to go, and I think he was doing pretty good with the Lakers and different things like that. But Sacramento, he lost the locker room. Still a great coach, just lost the locker room.
Mike Brown is probably the most paid head coach that don't even be coaching.
What do you mean not coaching?
That nigga gets paid like low. First of all, he's at Cleveland, right? They fire him at Cleveland, but they still got to pay him what's on his contract. So he goes coach the Lakers. While he's coaching the Lakers, he gets paid from Cleveland. While he's coaching the Lakers, he gets fired from the Lakers and becomes the assistant coach with Golden State. But the Lakers still have to pay him. So now
he was getting two checks. Cleveland and the Lakers.
Cleveland and the Lakers. And then, let me make sure that I'm right, but I remember this. He was getting 2 checks from Cleveland and the Lakers. And he was the assistant coach under Steve Kerr at Golden State. So now you're getting paid for being an assistant coach at Golden State while you still getting a check from Cleveland and the Lakers. So I'm like, Mike, like, niggas won't get, all right, fuck it.
Fire me.
Yeah. Niggas acting crazy. Long as niggas pay me. So, I think you made a great, I only have too much to say about what you just said because you hit the nail on the head. Pause when you sit there and say, it looked like Sacramento was like right there. The year before last, I believe, when they kept hitting the
You go ping.
and Steph Curry got mad and said he went there, go ahead, hit that shit now. But it looked like okay, they took Golden State to 7 games. Next year they should come back looking good, and the season wasn't the season that they expected last year. And I think that they got off to a funky start this year, and they're saying let's try and nip this in the bud early. Like right now, Mike Brown is on a 3-year deal with Sacramento. They fired him, so he's going to be getting paid again.
For how many more years?
1 more year.
Oh yeah, he's still getting paid.
Yeah, but that's the point, nigga. This nigga get paid without having to do the work. As far as Doug Christie's concerned, I wouldn't hire Doug Christie to do nothing for me, ever. Doug Christie couldn't sweep my floor. Ever, my nigga. I would never hire Doug Christie.
Why not?
To do anything. The reason I wouldn't hire Doug Christie to do anything is because I watched this that special that Brian Gunn will be doing on HBO and shit. Inside Sport. Is that the name of it? Real Sports. And there was an episode on Real Sports, and this was years ago, and I wanted to check to see if he's still married before I do this. And he is. And Jackie Christie runs his life. To the point where he was playing with the Sacramento Kings, when he got on the bench, he wasn't allowed to look up because she said she didn't want him to catch the eye of a cheerleader or somebody in the crowd. And you see this on tape because they did a whole special on it to where he sits down on the bench after he gets subbed out and have to do this till he gets subbed back in. I know that's when he got cut from the Sacramento Kings after that documentary came out. Like, you're not even paying attention to the game to see what's going on, to be aware to where your wife runs your life to where she, not only that, he can't look up when he was coach. How the fuck you gonna coach if you can't look up? Like, she really told the nigga he couldn't look up. I'm not even exaggerating. I'm 100% telling you verbatim what happened. Not only that, she has to go everywhere. Every away game, she has to be there because she doesn't trust any woman around him anywhere. And he's cool with all this shit. Seen a nigga with tights on and shit, with spandex, with some shit. She, like,
you over it.
I'm supportive of loving your woman and all that, but not to where she runs your life till you're not allowed to look up. That's what I'm saying. Like, me and my bitches look at asses together. If my girl don't like, not saying my girl don't like her, is a lesbian or anything, but we look at that. Like, Larry, I'd see Larry with his wife out, and then he'll be like, and shout to Maribel, because Larry's wife is like, I love her to death. That's my sister. But I see Larry's wife, like, hey, look at that fat ass. She's like, yeah, it's kind of nice. It's okay. That's the vibes. Right or wrong, right? Yeah. That's
as far as you could go, though, right?
Yeah, that's definitely as far as you could go.
Larry trying to push the envelope.
That's definitely as far as you can go. And I'm going to make sure, Maribel, that's as far as he goes.
She said, don't let killer get you killed, nigga. You up there what it is. Yeah. Watch your mouth.
But listen, that's why females these days are super popular, because it's not frowned upon to look at other females like, oh, she's banging. From female to female and be like, oh, she looks good. Her body's nice. And this, that, third. So let me ask you as a female, would you look at a female and be like, oh, she's fine?
I mean,
not that you want her.
Yeah. No, like, we do that all the time.
That's what I'm saying. It's not. It's
the
not
older
even,
women be hating on each other.
That's what I'm saying.
They'll say it, but they don't really want to say it.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you this though: would you be mad if you was with your nigga and he be like, "What you thinking of, babe? She's all right."
Not really. I'm not like, I don't overthink. I'm not insecure.
Yeah, that's
like, if she looks good, we'd be like, dang, she look good, and we gonna keep going. Like, that's that.
What if he like double take though?
Nah, watch your eyes. Don't do too much. Don't do too much.
See, that's a good question, brother. But that's why don't do the double take and you let her know before the double take. Yo, Shit crazy, right? Cause listen, let me tell you, niggas, we stupid. We be so obvious that a girl walk in the room, they look good, you with your girl, you start doing this shit. And you looking over here on purpose. So niggas like, oh, you like her because you're forcing yourself to try to look away. But anyway, I wouldn't hire Doug. I don't know if he changed anything. This was years ago, but he's still married to her, and she's intense. I don't know if y'all watched that Basketball Wives shit.
Basketball Wives,
that was the same lady on Real Sports, for real. So
When he used to score, he used to do something.
oh yeah, you seen that shit? I see too. Every time he score, he got to give her a kiss.
Yeah.
No matter where she at.
Nah.
That's serious, bro.
That's too.
Nah, it's a fact. He got to find.
He's supposed to be glorifying God. He giving up.
Yeah, he
glory.
doing this. Every time he score, he do one of this, a kiss up. But like you said, niggas thought it was God until the documentary came out. It wasn't God. The kiss was for his wife. Yo, you right. I remember that part too. Yo, yeah, they can't work with me.
You know what it sound like when you talking about Doug Christie? It sound like he was like caught probably 100 times cheating. That's what it sounds like as a married dude. It sounds like he was caught so many times that she said, "Nigga, when I see you, you better be looking down, nigga." I don't have no more times for this.
They do a wedding every year.
Oh yeah.
That was the other
Yeah.
thing. They do a wedding every year.
Yeah.
They renew their vows every year in front of everybody.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, that nigga was cheating. I'm telling you.
They've been married since
Pause.
'96.
yeah. Might not got a prenup.
Man, yeah.
But
But I'm saying that those actions, how the young niggas say, is giving cheating. It's given. That's what it's given, right?
Yeah,
Did I say it right?
It's
Stat?
giving cheating. Yeah.
It's definitely given.
But my thing is-
it's definitely giving a pass to cheating.
my thing is this.
Probably not present day.
Yeah, and you could be right, but my thing is this: I'm not gonna be a prisoner. Even you knew I cheated, man. You knew what happened.
You forgive
me. You forgive me or you don't. Now,
that's
I'm
right.
gonna do this for 2 years. I'm gonna do this 2-3 years. I get it. I'm not trusted, but god damn, man. Word. I was dealing
I
with.
can agree with you on that,
Yeah,
Gilla.
I was dealing with a girl at one point, and she thought I cheated. And I didn't consider it cheating. you know what I'm saying?
What did you do?
Yo, Killer is like, what was that? Married with Children? Al Bundy.
Yeah,
I didn't consider it cheating.
I didn't consider it cheating because we had rules, and the rules was, one of our rules was like, as long as you don't wife him or love him, and I don't wife or love her. So, what's the problem? And she kept bringing shit up, and I was like, I followed your rules.
Yeah.
I didn't say I didn't bone anybody else, but they're not my girlfriend. It's like, what they think your girlfriend? What I do and what they think is two totally different things. I cannot control. I can't control what she's thinking in her brain.
What I do and what they think.
I can't control what this girl thinks, man.
Yeah.
So at the end of the
What
day,
I do and what they think is
yeah,
two
but the
different
point
things.
is, I said I got to escape because you can't. I'm not gonna be held victim to you going crazy when we had an agreement in the beginning that was cool, that you the main girl, no other girlfriends, you don't love her. All right, cool, I'm cool with that. But it kept saying, you fucked her, right? Yeah, I did. You fucked her? Yeah. Yeah, I know you did. I know how we had a deal. You know what the fuck are you talking about? Never mind, I don't want to be in this no more because you're not obliging to your own rules. So, what? For real.
That's a lot. Like what?
This is what I've been listening to.
So I don't ask further
Hey, look,
questions.
I make it real clear. I'm fucking with this bitch. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to do something like that. The bitch says, look, this is the rules. Because I like the bitch because she like girls. So I'm like, we might could work out. You know what I'm saying? So she says, as long as you don't have no girlfriend and you don't love these bitches, then I don't give a fuck what you do. I said, bet. But she'll find out who I'm fucking and be like, You fuck her? And I'm like, yeah. Did you fuck her? And I'm like, yeah. She'd be like, yeah, all right. And I'm like, what are you mad about? It's because before we got into this, you actually said that it was okay for me to fuck other bitches. Like, yeah, but she thinks she your girlfriend. And I'm like, I can't control what she think. I can't really control that, but you're not obliging by what you said. And they kept going on and on. And I'm like, I don't want to do it. I'm not doing it with you because these are the rules. If you didn't set these rules before we got in this relationship, I wouldn't agree to do it.
Okay. This is the perfect time to say this is the last call. I'm putting together a dating show for Cam. Make sure y'all apply. Contact us at babyentertainment.com. Last call, final call. Can't wait to see y'all. This is going to be interesting.
Doug Christie a no-go though, man. So I don't know if he changed his life around or whatever, but I can't. And I think relationships should be mutual, but I don't think his shit is even mutual. I think it's like a 70-30 in favor of her. And I'm being nice giving it 30, Jackie Christie.
Yeah, shout out to Jackie Christie. You gotta put these niggas in their place.
Sometimes you gotta pop out and show niggas.
Shout out to Jackie Christie.
Facts. She's been doing it since 96, so shout out to him. Okay. We're gonna go to break. When we return, we gotta discuss the Lakers and an important trade that happened.
There's a level of honesty that instantly divides people, and you won't believe why. It's not because it's offensive or aggressive, but because it refuses to put on a show for anyone watching. That exact mindset fueled one of Camron's most viral interview moments in recent memory. Sitting there completely relaxed, unfazed, and almost entertained by the question, he answered without blinking. Then he delivered a line that quickly spread across social media, group chats, barbershops, everywhere. What I do and what they think is two different things. It sounds like a simple statement, but underneath it sits an entire philosophy about relationships, reputation, privacy, and the massive gap between reality and public opinion. And to understand why those words landed so hard, you first have to understand the man saying them. Camron isn't a newcomer chasing attention or manufacturing controversy for clicks. He has spent more than 2 decades shaping hip-hop culture while building a reputation for being fearless, unpredictable, and completely uninterested in saying what people want to hear. So when the conversation shifted to cheating, loyalty, and what society expects from men in relationships, he didn't reach for the politically correct response. He didn't try to clean up his image. He didn't pretend to be perfect. Instead, he drew a sharp line between what actually happens behind closed doors and what the public chooses to believe. His message was straightforward. Those two realities don't always have to match, and that single idea is what this entire debate revolves around. Whether you see it as wisdom or pure recklessness, there's a deeper truth buried inside those words that's hard to ignore. The reality is, everyone presents a carefully managed version of themselves to the world. Everyone, in one way or another, controls how they're perceived. The question Camron leaves hanging is whether protecting your private life is deception or simply setting boundaries. That's where the conversation really begins. Unsurprisingly, many people immediately labeled his comments as toxic masculinity, a defense of cheating, or another celebrity trying to normalize infidelity. Looking only at the headline, that reaction is understandable. Over the last decade, relationship culture has placed enormous value on openness and transparency. Trust has become closely tied to visibility. If you're not posting your partner, documenting every milestone, or constantly proving loyalty online, suspicion often follows. So hearing a public figure say perception doesn't need to mirror reality naturally sounds like a warning sign to a generation raised on social media relationship standards. But take the cheating narrative out of the equation for just a moment and focus on what he's actually saying. He isn't necessarily admitting to any specific behavior. He's explaining a mindset built from spending decades under a spotlight, where strangers constantly analyze a life they only see in fragments. When you exist under that kind of attention for years, you develop a thick skin. Eventually, you realize the public version of you will never match the complete truth, no matter how many times you explain yourself. And after a while, many celebrities simply stop trying to fix those assumptions. They accept that public perception and private reality will always exist as two different stories. In his trademark blunt style, Camron was pointing directly at that disconnect. His point was essentially this: people can speculate, create narratives, and believe whatever they want, but none of that automatically changes the facts of his real life. Assumptions are not evidence, and reality doesn't become fiction just because the internet decides it should. More importantly, he made it clear he has no interest in wasting energy trying to satisfy an audience that was never entitled to know every detail of his personal life in the first place. That's a completely different interpretation than simply saying someone is defending cheating. What Camron was really touching on is the idea of personal boundaries, the limits of what the public is entitled to know, and the decision not to let outside opinions control your life. And honestly, that's why this conversation stretches far beyond celebrity headlines. The reality is, most people who heard that quote probably weren't thinking about Camron's personal life at all. They were thinking about their own experiences. Almost everyone has dealt with this exact struggle at some point. You make decisions, you live your life. You carry experiences, choices, and conversations that your friends, family, coworkers, or even your partner never get to see in full. Yet people still create conclusions anyway. They connect missing pieces with assumptions, rumors, and whatever version of the story makes sense in their own minds. And no matter how many times you try to explain yourself, those assumptions often become accepted as fact, even when they couldn't be further from the truth. That's the deeper nerve this quote touches. It isn't really about cheating alone. It's about the exhausting reality of trying to control how other people perceive you. We've all felt the frustration of being misunderstood, of someone building an entire opinion about our character from incomplete information, secondhand gossip, or their own personal biases. Eventually, many people arrive at the exact same conclusion Camron expressed so bluntly. You can't control what people choose to believe. You can only control your own actions. And sooner or later, you have to decide which one is actually worth protecting if you want peace of mind. That's where this discussion becomes genuinely fascinating, because it forces a question most relationship conversations never really ask. Is it more important to actually be honest, or is it more important to constantly appear honest? Those ideas sound almost identical, but they're worlds apart. Real honesty is about your actions, your character, and what you do when nobody's watching. Being perceived as honest, on the other hand, often becomes a performance built around reassuring other people and constantly proving yourself to ease their doubts. And if we're being real, a lot of modern relationships have started leaning more toward that second category. Endless location sharing, non-stop check-ins, unrestricted phone access, passwords, and social media monitoring sometimes exist not because trust is strong, but because surveillance has quietly replaced genuine trust while being labeled as transparency. Whether Camron intended it or not, his statement directly challenges that mindset. His message, at least on the surface, is that integrity shouldn't be measured by how much access someone has to monitor every move you make. Your actions should speak louder than endless proof, especially when some people have already decided what they want to believe, regardless of the evidence. But there's also a legitimate counterargument here, and it deserves just as much attention. Healthy relationships aren't built on independence alone. They're built on trust, vulnerability, shared understanding, and the willingness to let another person truly know who you are in ways the rest of the world never will. If someone adopts the mindset that what I do and what you think are two different things as a permanent rule inside a relationship, that's no longer simple privacy. That begins to create emotional distance. And over time, distance can easily turn into secrecy instead of partnership. There's a very real difference between protecting your peace from strangers and avoiding accountability with someone who shares your life. Knowing which side of that line you're standing on makes all the difference. Maybe that's the real lesson hidden inside Camron's words. Maybe it was never meant to be a universal relationship rule at all. Instead, it reminds us that healthy privacy and harmful secrecy are not the same thing. It's perfectly reasonable not to explain every decision to coworkers, distant relatives, or random people on social media who have no meaningful place in your life. But hiding major truths from someone you've built a life with is an entirely different conversation. Viewed through that lens, Camron's quote makes perfect sense when applied to protecting your private life from public judgment. But it becomes much more complicated if people start using it to justify secrecy inside committed relationships. And this is exactly what always happens whenever a celebrity drops a powerful one-liner. The internet strips away the context, turns it into a meme, and suddenly everyone starts using it to support whatever argument they already wanted to make. You already know what comes next. Someone caught lying to their partner will almost certainly post that quote as if it suddenly excuses everything. What I do and what they think are two different things. It's the kind of quote people will throw around as if it instantly wins the debate, as though the gap between perception and reality is always a good thing, instead of sometimes being a warning that something is deliberately being kept out of sight. And that's exactly why taking a single sentence out of context and turning it into a life philosophy can be so misleading. The bigger truth is far more complicated than a viral soundbite. Managing how people see you isn't automatically dishonest, just like complete transparency isn't automatically virtuous. Everything depends on what's being protected, and more importantly, who actually has the right to know. If you're simply protecting your peace from strangers who have no place in your personal life, that's called having healthy boundaries. But if you're hiding important truths from someone you've chosen to build a life with, someone who expects honesty because that's the foundation of your relationship, then you're talking about something entirely different. And no clever quote, no matter how memorable, changes that reality. One reason Camron's words have stayed in the conversation is because of the way he delivered them. There was no panic, no defensiveness, and no desperate attempt to convince anyone he was right. It sounded more like someone calmly accepting that public perception and private reality rarely line up, and deciding long ago that he was okay with that. Believe it or not, there's a kind of freedom in that mindset that a lot of people secretly wish they had. It's the freedom to stop chasing everyone else's approval before feeling confident in your own decisions. It's the freedom to let your actions stand on their own, instead of constantly editing your life into a version that strangers will approve of. And maybe that's the deeper takeaway hiding underneath all the headlines, debates, and social media outrage. Maybe this was never really about defending infidelity or giving relationship advice. Maybe it's a reminder of how exhausting it becomes when people constantly seek validation from other people's opinions instead of trusting their own reality. Eventually, everyone reaches a point where they have to decide how much time and energy they're willing to spend correcting stories that were probably never going to be accurate in the first place. At some point, you also have to ask yourself whether your integrity comes from your own actions or from convincing an audience that will never know every detail of your life anyway. Camron didn't hand people a rule book during that interview. Instead, he held up a mirror. And what people saw in that reflection depended almost entirely on what they already believed before hearing those 5 words. Some listeners heard another powerful man making excuses for questionable behavior. Others heard someone pushing back against a culture where constant monitoring is often mistaken for love and trust. What's fascinating is that both reactions reveal more about the audience than they do about the quote itself. What I do and what they think are two different things. So maybe the real debate isn't whether those words are right or wrong. Maybe the better question is this: which side of that gap are you willing to live on, and who has truly earned the right to step close enough to understand the full story? If this conversation made you stop and think, then it accomplished exactly what it was supposed to. Now I want to hear your perspective, so drop your thoughts in the comments, because honestly, the discussion behind this quote is far more interesting than the headline itself.